Portland's college radio station, which has been broadcasting since 1994 on the Portland State campus. We're now streaming to you live 24/7 at www.kpsu.org, where all of our fabulous shows are available for podcast and download. You can, of course, also check us out in a variety of apps, including the TuneIn app for any Apple product or the official KPSU app found in the Google Play Store. Since this is Live Friday and we have live music here every week, PSU TV broadcasts this live at psu.tv/live. So big ups to them. PSPS, otherwise known as Portland State Professional Sound, are the official sound engineers for Live Friday. Thank you guys. And here, ready to perform for you live, is Ryan Lang, otherwise known as Lloyd Daylight.
Yeah, clap. Do that. I'll make it feel good. Thanks, guys. Oh, thank you. This is an oldie but a goodie. Well, at least I like to think of it that way. Okay. Okay. Is that good? The child stared back at his mirror with intent to initiate a long conversation with himself, yeah, a big debate. He had thought that his God an all-knowing agent, but the future doesn't exist, so he can't be omniscient. And looking for something else that could really make him whole, he found some meaning in alternative rock and roll. But Satan's waiting with the final record of blues, and if you play the record backwards, it's a secret message for you. All these diseases don't get cured crying on your knees. Beside the problem of evil isn't in you, but in God's armies. the gates will not prevail, just like the good book says. But it can often distort his crucified and holy head. So you try to vote for your gods, but which button did you press? You'd have better luck making paradise suffocating on her breast. Satan is waiting with a vinyl record of blues, and if you play the record backwards, there's a secret message for you. It says, all these diseases don't get cured crying on your knees. Besides, the problem of evil isn't in you, but in God's armies. Alternative rock and roll, alternative rock and roll. Oh, the liberal agenda, the liberal agenda, the liberal agenda, the liberal agenda. Alternative rock and roll, alternative rock and roll. Oh, the liberal agenda, 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 the liberal agenda. We're going to try this new one for the kids. I always play for the kids. Never diss what the kids are listening to. Even if it's Justin Bieber. Even if it's Justin Bieber. Okay. All right. I'll spare you guys my Mark Ruffalo impression. Oh, dear Lord. Held my heart open and you pinned me down because you're so undeniable. And vast were my waters, this joy was the sound still to some unattainable. And still I find no reason why you took my hand, yeah, you're so unpredictable. And so I'm doing a bad job. Now I have to do a bad job. Hey, hey. And it's so very odd when you have to do a bad job. Hey, 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 hey. And who was that poor soul that you ripped wide open just to rely on me? And somehow you shut up my angelic voice, yeah, so you could make a scribe of me. And though I hold your blessings, I still feel used like you were trying to get high on me. So I'm doing a bad job. Now, I think I'm doing a bad job. Hey, hey. And it's so very odd now, 'cause I have to do a bad job. Hey, 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 hey. the light appeared, I knew that you was diving in. I wouldn't call it better, but I know it was brighter, the spirit that resides within. And when he called my name in the lonely night, I cannot turn my eyes from him. I think I'm gonna have to go overtime. 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 Thanks, guys. I could do another, but three. I think three. I'm gonna do three, because the other one, I don't know. You know how it goes. You have to come see me play live if you want the other one. That's not a call to action. It's just like, if you wanted to, you could.
All right, stay tuned. We'll be chatting here in just a minute, but first we're going to thank the people that helped make this station possible.
Want to get in touch with the city's music, community, and culture? Then pick up a copy of 11 PDX magazine or visit 11pdx.com. And that's your free monthly music and culture magazine with up-to-date content from local, national, and international artists. Volume 2 featured interviews with Macklemore, Foles, Unknown War Orchestra, Dan Deacon, and plenty more, and we can't wait for an exciting Volume 3 at Mississippi Studios or over 250 additional Portland locations. Or visit us online at 11pdx.com.
Yes, it's Courtney John, and you're locked into DJ Shortchange and KPSU.org. Reggae Revelation, Sunday at 8 to 10 p.m. Courtney John said that. The whole place a boil. The whole place a boil.
Yo, this is Ziggy Marley, and anytime I come to Portland, I always listen to DJ Shortchange and Reggae Revelations. Love it.
DJ Shortchange, go and live your life.
Reggae Revelation, Sunday at 8.
This hour of music on KPSU is sponsored in part by Lagunitas Brewing Company. You can find out all about their unique brews and other brewery happenings online at lagunitas.com. That's LAGUNITAS.com. Glad to support KPSU Radio, Lagunitas Brewing Company, keeping the pub in public broadcasting.
Serving up guitar goodies since 1996. It's the Guitar Shop on KPSU Radio. Wednesdays 4 to 6 p.m. Rock, jazz, blues, experimental, classical. It's all here on the Guitar Shop, Wednesdays 4 to 6 p.m. on KPSU.
PSU TV, media created by students for students. PSU TV is your source for interesting creative content on and around the PSU campus. It provides a great way to get involved doing what you love, whether it be reporting, marketing, editing, camera work, and much, much more. Take a look at the latest videos via the PSU TV YouTube channel or visit them online at psu.tv.
Do you feel too tired to make it through class alive? Are midterms and finals stealing your sleep? With 5 locations in Portland today, Stumptown has been serving the community with directly traded and locally roasted coffee since 1999, bringing the tastes of coffee beans from around the world to your backyard. For more information on their coffee and brewing techniques, visit stumptowncoffee.com.
Once again, this is DJ Rochelle here on KPSU, Portland's college radio station. And now I get to chat with Ryan of Lloyd Daylight. Stay tuned, here he is.
Hey, this is Ryan from Lloyd Daylight. Just played some tunes for you guys. Looking forward to talking with Rochelle here. Here she is.
Why, hello.
Hey.
Thank you so much for being here.
You smile outside of parties too.
I do. Imagine that. That's right. That's how we first met.
Yeah. Parties.
There you go.
Just schmoozing.
I don't know. I'm sitting here trying to think. Would I call that a schmooze party?
I don't know what it was.
I guess we should back up a little bit. Tell everybody about that party.
Well, it was a
if
long
we can.
night. No, I'm just kidding.
This one time. No.
Trying to forget that party. No, I'm just
Wait,
kidding.
you remember it? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, Portland has more than a few house shows and parties going on once in a while.
There's around. Definitely. Good stuff happening everywhere. It's beautiful.
Yeah, one of the fun things about Portland, for sure.
You make it to a lot of those.
I do. I make it to a lot of concerts in general.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's good. You probably know what's happening then.
Once in a while. There's a few things going on.
That's cool.
But let's back up and talk about your music that you just played tonight.
Yeah. Played 3 songs tonight. But the guitar song is the oldest of the 3, actually. That one I wrote many years ago. But I feel like that one's kind of political, I guess.
Yeah, something about the liberal media.
Yeah, liberal agenda.
There you go.
You know, that's something that I feel like we need to pay attention to even now. I feel like everything's at stake in motion. I don't know how political you get on your show. But the identity...
as political as a musician.
The identities are changing, you know, of all these political platforms. And, you know, I think it's important to, you know, look at these and see where you stand. Mm-hmm. It's interesting. The first song I played was kind of not as old as that one, probably maybe at least 3 or 4 years old by now. But that was an interesting one. I had a few, you know, it's a metaphor, but I also, you know, I used to walk my dog really late at night in Chicago, and there was actually a guy that came and barked at me.
Wait, not the dog, the guy barked?
Yeah, this guy started barking at me and my dog. Pretty much just to freak me out, I'm almost positive. But...
Did he accomplish it?
No, that kind of stuff, I don't know, it doesn't bother me. I've had weird stuff happen to me. I had a guy dressed in a white cloak come out of a bush at me one night in a park where I was all alone. That was scary.
Yeah, that's a good reason not to be in a park late at night by yourself.
I go on late night walks, and I'm just kind of like a voyeur. I don't know, moving around. What is happening in this world? Just me walk around. I don't know what happens, but anyway.
Crazy stuff. But that's what inspired the second song.
Partly, yeah, that and just some of it's my interest in the occult a little bit. I talk about spells in it. My friends kind of introduced me to these things, and. You know, just kind of like realizing, like in the practice of those ideas, how they're not like it's not only affecting you, or not only affecting others, but it affects you. You know, it's cyclical, kind of. Some of those practices, but yeah.
What inspired the third song you played?
Well, that's kind of part of the project I'm working on right now. My new album, and that's. You know, that has to do with the spiritual experience I had while I was experimenting with transcendental meditation. And I was unfortunately not doing that correctly, because you're always supposed to do it with somebody else, at least as I was instructed. And so I started to practice those things alone, and I had some encounters that I'll be writing about on my record. So mostly I'm going to save those surprises for later, I guess, but you can probably glean a little bit from the song itself, I suppose. But yeah, so I had some interesting experiences with that, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. It makes your songs very personal then.
Yeah, my song, well, that's part of what I feel like I'm doing. It's kind of confessional. I could define my music by that almost. Mm-hmm. I feel like I learned that from writing poetry, you know, because that's how I started out as an artist, writing. Mm-hmm. And I found that as you confess, you kind of break down your ego in a sense. You confront the things that are most like hindering to your pathway opening up or whatever. And I feel like the more you confess, the more you expand. So that's kind of a practice of mine in my art, I guess I would say.
Do you find it awkward to perform something so personal publicly then?
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like the fear, that's kind of what makes it what it is. You know, as an art, the confession, the intimacy, that's kind of the fun of the project, you know? That's kind of like, cool, this is fun to see, this is interesting, you know? I think that's what people like about it when they like it. Yeah.
What about when you go to see other musicians play? How do you view it then?
I try to just be true to what they're trying to represent as best as I can. I mean, obviously your ears don't like everything you hear, you know? But, you know, I try to just judge someone with inside of their style, inside of what they're doing. And I always look at somebody like they're developing. And that helps me to accept almost everything I hear, unless it's, you know, I mean, there's some sounds sonically that I just don't digest well, but mostly I try to keep pretty open ears to people and find the person at the place that they're at, representing what they're representing, you know. I mean, I would rarely say somebody sucks. I would say that somebody's in motion to a place, you know. And I feel like everyone starts out as an amateur, you know, and I consider myself an amateur in a lot of aspects, but that's kind of how I view the process, you know. It's like you're going to read a poem, you're going to play a song, and if you didn't have that experience, you wouldn't push through the next one, you wouldn't write a better song, a better poem, that kind of thing.
Tell me about that writing process, speaking of writing poetry.
Yeah, like of me writing a song, or like developing as an artist?
Just developing as an artist.
Yeah, well, what I feel like is important for an artist to do is to just, like, some people just have to start. You know, some people are like, yeah, I don't know how to draw. I'd like to see images. Like, I talked to this one guy a few months ago, and he was like, I'd love it if I was, like, drawing cool images or making a good song, and I'd know that at least I was doing that. And I said, well, you just have to start. Like, you have to start, because if you don't start, you're never going to just start making cool images or whatever. That's what I said to him. Not that he was asking for my advice or anything, but other people are in different places. And see, I think that the best masters of artistry can like stick to one genre and like be really set in there and expand within that. Like they can like, I play the keys and that's all they do, and they get better and better and better at it, and they become a master. Or they paint, and that's what they do. But I feel like someone like me, the way I evolve is I'll get stuck musically. I won't be able to go anywhere, and then I'll have to go and paint, or I'll have to go write, and I'll push myself in those directions before the door opens up for me in another way. Because I believe in like these universal principles of artistic development. This is a real important idea to me.
I think this is part of what we chatted about at that party.
Yeah.
Circling
and
back.
David Byrne writes about it a little bit, you know, and in his book, How Music Works, you know, he talks about universal artistic principles. So, I mean, when you give yourself to a discipline, like playing piano or painting, there are principles, like you might learn a principle of fluidity as a painter, that you find that you somehow have a knack for dancing because of the motion that you've learned to generate on a canvas. Or you might have a really good rhythm as a poet because you're a drummer. Obviously, you know, there's some overlap to these things, and that's why I feel like you can evolve as an artist through other mediums. And I feel like, you know how Malcolm Gladwell writes about 10 years to master something in his book Outliers?
Or the 10,000 hours.
Yeah, 10,000 hours. It usually takes a decade. Yeah, 10,000 hours though. That's more to the tune of it. But I feel like you can invest your 10,000 hours into just artistic expression, and then you become a master expressionist, which is kind of the level that I'm going at. But I mean, the thing is, I mean, you have to do it for you because obviously these things don't have monetary rewards. I mean, if you want to become a master piano player, you might be able to make really good money. But yeah, you have to do it because you enjoy it. For me, it's breaking down the walls of my ego and consciousness, expanding myself through art. Yeah, so that's that kind of idea.
How did you get involved with Chicago Quarterly?
That was an interesting evolution. Basically, well, I found myself in a spot where I feel like there's a lot of freedom in a city to do any kind of expression you want to do, but then there's also a lot of critical elements. For me, those were always the things that kept me from stepping into something. Like with my writing, I was always worried I wasn't going to be like grammatically correct. And then I realized like I had to throw all of that out the door because I was never going to like be great at grammar. And then when I threw it out and just wrote, I understood grammar because I approached it like that. So I wanted a place where people who were starting out could go and look at people who are a little further along and learn about the path that they took and how they took it and like what makes them able to do what they do. And so that was really important to me. Like, how are these people creating an image? How are they, you know, coming into focus? And there were so many good people who were just around to do it. And I bootstrapped the site, you know. And that was kind of what was cool about it, you know. There wasn't any, I mean, there was people, my friend Charles, he's like helped me design it and helped me film things. And so, yeah, it was really cool. It was just really cool. A lot of creative people who were like, yeah, I'm up for it. And so it kind of opened up a lot of neat space, and I've had a lot of readers. It's been great in that sense.
How would you describe Chicago Quarterly to someone who's never heard of it, has no idea what you're talking about?
Just kind of like that, a place where artists, it's a place where artists can, and artists and people who want to learn about the culture of a city or just the development of the artistic processes, or people who are pushing boundaries, you know, if they want to see some of that in motion, get a little window into the artistic culture of that area, they can go for it, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting to have an online magazine that's written by creative people for creative. I mean, that sounds kind of cliche to say it's by creative people for creative people, but
by the people for the people,
right? But it's interesting because that's obviously the target audience. It's not meant for, hey, we're trying to sell our creative stuff. It's we're trying to communicate to other creative types.
Yeah, we're doing it for us. You know, I think that's an important sense, like. Because that's where I feel like that critical angle comes in. I know like there's another Chicago magazine, Pitchfork, which I feel like has its positives and negatives. They have a grading scale of like how they perceive an album. I've seen some really negative reviews about people on there, which I was like, man, that's kind of crazy. Like, why are they even mentioned in my mind? But I've also heard about some of my favorite albums from them, you know. So it's a, you know, and I was like, I wish there was a place where people could come and just be, like, just exist. Like, isn't that like the most artistic idea? Like a sculpture, it just is. It sits there and you put all of your thoughts into it and all of your, you know. So I feel like that's the most freeing idea of like it's just there, you know. You glean what you want from it, you know, love it, hate it. These are people doing the work, you know. So that was kind of the cool freeing idea of it. It wasn't like worried about that. It was a little unconscious, though. I did run into I learned a lot through making it, I feel like, just socially. And I wasn't a very good social communicator, like professionally speaking, when I started it. I still feel kind of amateuristic. I feel like what I've learned is like, who can I kind of be an amateur to and kind of trust that they're going to understand who I am, you know, whereas other people, oh man, I just feel like some people just really can blow you off pretty hard sometimes when you're trying to do something, and you're just like, well, okay, that's what they're doing. But I don't know. But, you know, that's how you learn, I guess. And, you know, I had a lot of friends who run magazines who were giving me advice and stuff, and really encouraging to me. So, yeah, that was kind of fun project.
How did you end up in Portland?
Portland. Well, I'll say this, okay? This is going to sound kind of interesting because many of you haven't experienced a Chicago winter in its full force, but honestly, it is very depressing.
I visited Downers Grove by mistake in March. I did not mean to be there. It was bad time. I can't imagine December. I stay far, far away.
December can be okay, but like January, February, okay, just like the polar vortex, okay, like car breaks down, some dude like Hagrid pops out of his van and says he's gonna like help me. I totally felt like Harry Potter, but like in an actual bad situation. And yeah, we were like, we've got to get out of here. And so yeah, that was a really funny time. And so
it was all about the winter, getting away from it.
Mainly, like just like needing a change, just like an evolution, just like anything else. And you know, I'd been in Chicago. I'd lived in Logan Square for probably 6 years at that point, and I was running my literature event, which was kind of whatever, you know, and playing some house shows, reading poetry here or there, whatever I was doing. And then I was just like getting into street art. I was like, there's some really great street art to look at, but you know, I needed a new rhythm. I needed a new like way to think. I needed some fresh perspectives. I needed to see nature. It's hard to get out to nature in that city sometimes. You know, the lake's there, but you're in the city, and you know, there's a few secret spots, but
yeah, the lake borders the city basically.
Yeah, it does all the way down. So yeah, but it's a great place. A lot of good people, a lot of good things going there. I go in the spring and summer. Summer's not. People say it gets so hot. It's not that bad. It's really not that bad.
I can say spring totally confused me. It was super hot one day. Next day it was actually snowing.
Really?
I was like, how does this happen? I'm like, well, it's just springtime.
That's pretty funny. Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, Portland's not that different in the spring. It'll be rainy one day and sunny the next during the spring.
It was funny for me because last winter was like no rain. And I was like, this is great. And this winter's like rain, you know. So, you know, that was kind of fun. But
Let's shift back to the music stuff.
Oh, sure, yeah.
You have a couple of instruments here, as you were mentioning.
Yeah, I've got my guitar, which is what I started kind of learning on. As a kid, I played some piano, but you know that kind of all went. My mentor, I had a mentor, my friend Dimitri, and we started learning on guitar, and he said, you know, you need to get a keyboard, because he knew what kind of thinker I was, and I couldn't really understand. But when I got the keyboard, then I was able to understand music theory much easier. And still, the guitar is still confusing for me. I'm sure it's easy. I just, you know, the keys helped me a lot. And
that's where you do most of your writing?
Yeah, I do most of my writing on keys. I want to get more back into guitar just because I feel like I need to push myself more there. But then this thing really helped me too because I have really crappy rhythm. So the drum machine was like really what I needed, you know, because I had writer's block for about a year and a half. And so I had all the songs I wrote before that, and then I wrote maybe 4 or 5 songs after on the SK1, which is kind of my new means of writing for now. So yeah.
Where'd you pick it up?
The SK1?
Yes.
On Craigslist for a good deal. Because I think they're about 125 new. I think I got it for $40.
That is a good deal.
It looked really crappy. It still kind of does. He had stickers on all the keys. I took some of them off because I don't want people to think I don't know the note names. That's kind of dumb of me too. But anyway, yeah, that was a good purchase. I really like the SK1. I mean, a lot of really prominent artists use it, you know, I think back in Fatboy Slim, but they use it, I mean, they're masters, you know, they use it differently than I do, but it's kind of pick up and go. I mean, I'm lo-fi. I mean, you know, obviously, you know, that's just because of my limitations, you know. Everyone has their own, like, music software today, and I had it, and then, like, I can't keep up with, like, pirating, because there's no way anyone can afford that stuff, but good pirates, you know, they're good DJs, they're producers or whatever, but I just, you know, lost programs, and that doesn't stop most people, but for me, I just had to evolve differently.
Tell me about your guitar. When did you pick that up?
That was a while ago. It's a Seagull. it's a beautiful guitar. It's a little worn in. I kind of like it like that. Adds character. You know, it is kind of interesting how like connected I do feel to the actual material. You know, you just have your hands on it so much, and you touch it and feel it, and you know, I really liked what really drew me to that particular design was the thickness of the neck, because I guess I had weak hands for bar chords, and that for some reason I felt really comfortable playing them on a seagull neck. And I was like, well, I guess this is what I have to get, you know, because I can play it and it sounded good. And so, yeah, I like that guitar a lot. So that really helped me too. Mm-hmm.
Where'd you pick it up?
Actually, I'm really proud to say I got that at a store called Gazzardo's in Rockford, Illinois. It's been a staple of the city's like guitar, like independent music store. Even though Guitar Center came in and did their thing, I think it's still open. Right. But yeah, that cool guitar shop, very awesome.
Were you one of those guys that took guitars off the wall and was playing with them to see which one was the best?
I'm not like cool enough to like, I mean, obviously like when I grab like the really nice Martin, like I know it sounds better and looks more beautiful than my guitar, but like, I'm an amateur. I'm lo-fi. I'm not like, my ears are what they are. I was in choirs a lot growing up, so I have certain kinds of ears. I feel like I know how to close notes off. I know how to close chords with my vocals, but like...
You're not going to geek out on the guitar?
Well, what I can do, because I've been in choirs, is I know how to make adjustments to the types of instruments that are happening. You know, so I've been able to make sound make sense with my voice. You know, like if a piano sounded like kind of bad, I would kind of understand where to bring my voice to it, you know, to make it express the way I wanted it to. You know, that's kind of the ability that I have realized I have over time, just because I was in so many children's choirs singing. I find that to be a blessing of my childhood, that I was able to sing so much. Even if it happened in a church, I sang those hymns.
Do you remember the first song you memorized to sing?
That'd be an old one. Well, I'm not going to sing it, but I know I sang the Hallelujah Chorus in one of my children's choirs, and we did a good job. I think my choir director won some cool award or something. She was like, now she has like a cool career as a choir director, but right then, you know, she was just a children's director. It was really cool. I don't know. It's a cool gig. I think choirs are really good for kids, you know. They can make beautiful things with their mouths. I feel like those are the most like singing, like that's why I started writing poetry, because that's like the most accessible thing. Right. Like I feel like that's why a lot of artists start out being photographers, because they can just pick up and click it. Mm-hmm. You know, like they don't have to learn how color works, or, you know, but like you can just pick up and go. Like that's the best kind of expression for a beginning artist. Like just start writing words, just start singing a song. You know, like, because it's just so accessible. Where an instrument, you can just start playing it, but you got to learn a couple restraints and stuff to help you make it make sense, you know. So it's a little bit harder to just move into, you know. So
speaking of different mediums, you also paint.
I do paint. I more draw, but I've been getting into painting lately a little bit. I draw with my friends as much as I can. I used to do it on a weekly basis, but I've been so busy now that I just kind of show up when I can. But they're all drawn on a weekly basis, you know. So they're awesome artists, and so yeah, I have that community, and they're really good people, and they've been really supportive of me and my music. Sometimes I come to the drawing night with my keyboard, and they'll let me play. They'll let me disrupt their practice, you know. It's weird because I feel like most musicians hang out with musicians, but I feel like I'm kind of an isolated person. You know, I wrote all these songs in my bedroom, and I don't interact with a whole lot of musicians. I interact with visual artists, so I feel like I guess I think of my songs more in terms of color than in terms of like sonic quality. I guess I hear color, but I don't, you know, I don't have like perfect pitch or anything, but, you know, a lot of people who have perfect pitch will match a color to the pitch, but, you know, I'm a visual artist, so that's kind of I don't know. And I bring that into music too, like, I don't know.
Yeah, For anyone who wants to check out the video later, psu.tv/live, they're going to see that splash page of a painting you recently did.
Cool. Yeah, I did that on a wall somewhere. Maybe someone will find it.
For anyone who wants to check out your paintings, where's a good place?
Oh, well, if they so happen to want that, I have an Instagram handle called Lloyd Daylight. Lloyd like Lloyd Center, Daylight like daylight. So that's about what that is. I mean, that's the name of my project now. I played a long time as Ryan Lang, and, you know, I don't know. I just thought Lloyd Daylight was fun, and I kind of wanted to make some new expressions and move past, like, I don't know, get over whatever it was I was in. So, yeah.
Let's shift gears a little bit.
Sure.
Ask you some really random music questions now.
All right, sounds fun.
Okay. First concert you ever went to?
Foo Fighters.
Ooh,
and it
excellent.
was awesome. It was their third record, which I think is one of their best records. I was like Learning to Fly on it, and it was their last concert in America. They're like, this is our last concert in America for 2 years, because they were going to record their next record. Mm-hmm. And like David Grohl like climbed up into the rafters and like made out with a girl and like drank some dude's beer, and then he like climbed back down. It was really cool. It was really rocking, like awesome, like Foo Fighters. Yeah.
What's the most recent concert you've been to?
Oh man, recent. I just went to one. Man, I'm forgetting. Oh, Deer Hunter was the most recent one, which that was Deer Hunter and Atlas Sound. Were any of you guys at that one?
Was that at Doug Fir?
No, it was at, maybe it was. I don't know where. I can't remember where it was off the top of my head, but that's kind of, but it was great. It was great. Atlas Sound, he did a lot of like really ambient kind of stuff, and then Deer Hunter, of course. It was kind of funny because the sound check took like, they were like late for the sound check, so they just did it with all the people there, and it was like really awkward. So, but that's the way that dude is. Bradford Cox, he's a strange one, but he's a cool guy, actually, really, really cool guy.
What makes a concert really fun for you?
I think firstly, I feel like I like it when I can give myself to the moment. I like concerts where people dance and mosh and lose themselves. I don't, go to a lot of moshing shows, but I like that kind of energy where you just kind of let go of like your inhibitions. I feel like dancing is really good for the body, And I like just kind of like closing off into the sound, because you're experiencing sound live in a different way than, you do when you just pop in a CD or a record or go on Spotify or whatever you do. Yeah, I also saw a band called Diver recently. Ooh. You all should check out. They're a local band, Diver. You've seen them?
Yes, I have.
Have they played here?
They will be soon.
Oh, really?
We haven't confirmed dates.
Really
I'm waiting for
guys.
an email confirmation.
I'm supposedly going to be playing at one of their house show concerts sometime soon. We've been in talks, so.
Nice.
Yeah, so they're really great and really fun guys, really cool. So yeah, so good stuff all around.
How would you compare the music community here that you've been involved with the community in Chicago?
I feel like, man, it's kind of an interesting thing. I think that I'm still getting my feet into the community here a little bit. Mm-hmm. I'm still getting to know people and, getting to know where to go and who to chill with or whatever. I don't know. Where do you see good shows? And, I don't know. It'd be a difficult comparison. I mean, it's smaller here, but then there's a lot of people who really care here and a lot of really good music coming out. Because I feel like the people who are making it here, like, it's like there's a better chance to be like locally known, maybe, so they really can give to their music what it deserves. But then there's like more in Chicago. There's more people. There's more venues. There's just more of everything. So I kind of say that, like, some people ask me, a lot of my friends are like, are the girls prettier here or in Chicago? And I'm like, I don't know. I think there's just more of everything in Chicago. They're like just as pretty, but I don't know. That was like kind of a funny question, but it's so weird. Anyway.
All right, last album you purchased.
Last album I purchased. Oh, it was the Lemons LP that just came out. So that's kind of a little bit more obscure. I did purchase the new Deer Hunter. So those are the last couple.
When you purchased them, were they both vinyl then, or?
Yes, they are vinyl. I've been on vinyl now that I've ganked a record player from the Goodwill bins that's halfway decent. I was like, I don't know, you can buy a record player by the pound there if you find a good one. I looked at the price of it. It was like definitely like pretty expensive record player, but some little lady was like really glaring at me when I grabbed it, and I was like, what? I have records too.
I think that's just the general Goodwill experience you described. There's always some lady glaring at you. You just took the awesome thing that they wanted.
That porcelain poodle. I've been thinking about buying it for months.
And then you came in and grabbed it.
I think Goodwill, like, the actual stores are a little bit insane. Like, I'll grab a shirt and it'll be like, why is this $11? Like, I could go buy a new one for like 14 or whatever. Like, this isn't like Goodwill. This is like semi-badwill, I think, in a sense. This is not, I don't know. That's
what happens when thrift stores become trendy.
Yeah, I guess so. They're like, oh, we can make money. And I've heard, can I say things about Goodwill here? Is that a...
Yeah, as long as, we're not slandering anyone.
I'm not slandering anyone. I've just had people who, some friends of mine have worked there, and they didn't have too good of a time with management. But I guess it's probably different from store to store.
Yeah, I think it's that way.
Who's to say?
No, but I think it's a shared experience, so everyone has at one point or another.
Yeah. Anyway, you guys know where I shop now, so...
So we can be that old lady glaring at you and be like, that was mine.
That's how I get my cool threads. I don't know.
You steal them from old ladies.
Yeah. Oh, I'm taking that Jar Jar Binks mask.
No, that's all yours. I'm not touching that.
Okay, anyway.
Showing my nerdism there.
I'm literally listing off actual things I've seen at Goodwill. That's kind of fun.
That's priceless. Have you ever purchased music at Goodwill?
Yes, I purchased a Xanadu vinyl at Goodwill. I thought it was pretty cool. And
that's
actually,
a find.
The artwork on it was really great. And I'd never heard the soundtrack before. When I popped it on, though, it was not quite as cool as I'd hoped. But it's still kind of a classic, I guess. Xanadu.
Okay, super random. Your favorite thing to sing? Just on your own, whether you're in the shower or just hanging out.
Well, all right. Well, I usually sing Beach Boys songs on my own. They come to my head a lot. I sing, pretty much. That's what I sing when I'm, because I always have Pet Sounds in my car. I just like the album a lot. Obviously, everybody likes that album, but. And then, I just sing. I sing Beach Boys, Brian Wilson, my favorite, Beach Boy, of course.
When did you first hear Beach Boys? Was it something your parents introduced to you?
Yeah, definitely. We have home videos of, like, us dancing around the kitchen to Beach Boys, which no one will ever see those, thankfully, but... I really like the Beach Boys. Those were good memories for me. I think my parents gave my brother a Beach Boys cassette for his birthday, and then we just listened to it a whole bunch. Yeah.
Do you still buy cassette tapes?
I do. I still buy cassette tapes. Actually, I really like the cassette aesthetic. I like how accessible it is in a sense that it's cheap. And I feel like if you're going to pay for music, it's a pretty big investment for people these days. You know, where if you're going to buy it, it's like, well, why not just listen to it for free? But the novelty of like, oh, it's not online, it's on a cassette, you know, I feel like that. And I think people also undervalue aesthetics too. Like when you smoke a cigarette, you open up the pack, you pack the tobacco, you know, you got it in your hand, in your mouth, and then you light it and you smoke it. There's a lot of aesthetical features of that. And I feel like you open up a cassette, you know, you crank open the case, you put it in the player, you snap the door shut. There's a ritual that comes with it that I feel like people kind of don't realize they're missing out on. Rituals happen, you know, just, you know, there's a ritual to a cassette. So rituals in life, you know, if cassettes go out, which now they're supposedly on the way back, which they probably are, the ritual comes back too of opening up. The ritual of putting a vinyl, flipping a cassette when it's halfway through, listening to the other side. It gives your ear special attention to the medium. You don't have to flip a CD, you don't have to flip Spotify, but, oh, the record stopped, I want the sound to come back. You go to the record, you go to the cassette, you flip it, and your mind re-engages with the music in a new way. Or not a new way, but just like you're connecting to it, you're reconnecting to it, you haven't forgotten about it. It demands a more attentive listener. So
For sure.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought on those things.
I had a friend who, while trying to quit smoking, so it's funny you make that comparison, was listening to more cassettes and had sort of that ritual pulling out a cassette and trying to clean while listening to music instead of going outside to smoke.
That's great. She replaced her smoking with it. That's one way to stop smoking.
Well, she's still struggling, but anyway.
I once a smoker. I'm one of the only people I know who can actually just have an occasional cigarette and not. Everyone else who's a smoker is like, I can't believe you can do that. I don't remember the last cigarette I have, but I think maybe I had one at a party a few weeks ago. I don't know. You know, it doesn't affect me. I don't know. It's weird. I'm good with cigarettes. They're still probably not good for me.
No.
Anyway.
One of the fun things for me when I'm playing vinyl too is in the sleeve, often it'll have the printout of the lyrics or info about the band.
Yeah.
And so it's like I'm sitting on the couch looking at that as I'm listening to it. Have you ever found anything really fun in the sleeve of a record or a cassette?
Yeah. A lot of times there'll be like posters of the artists in there if you buy like an old one. And like, I don't know, there's a lot of cool stuff in there that pack in. Oh, I got a Steve Martin record of him doing comedy, and it's actually a really good record. And there was a portrait of him in there on like a cardboard print, and it was like, I think he had like a salmon in his pocket or something really funny, and it was just like, he's funny though. He's a funny comedian. But yeah, that was really cool. Because I was like, oh, cool, Steve Martin. I was like, I'll get this because it was really cheap. And it's very, very great find.
Very fun. Do you have any plans for future concerts or shows?
Well, other than hopefully at the Psychic Reader soon, I don't know, I'm talking with friends and, you know, just like, even like you guys, I don't know. I'm trying to find places to play shows. The real trouble I have is people are like, where can I listen to your stuff? And I'm like, well, I don't have it online because it's going to be on a cassette for that exact reason. But, you know, I'm kind of learning, well, if I want to play shows, I'm going to have to get it somewhere. So that's kind of the give and take, you know, of the whole thing. And I like playing shows a lot. So hopefully there'll be more in development soon. I'll put it up on my Instagram at Lloyd Daylight if people want to look at it and see if there's shows.
Do you have plans to go any concerts just as a concert goer? Like, an audience member?
Like soonish? You know, I saw that M83 was coming around. I imagine they're sold out. But I wouldn't mind going to that one. They're pretty good live, M83. I saw them once in Detroit, actually, with my friend James, and we had a ball. And they had a little puppet on their cover, or the kid has the hat. I don't remember. Hurry Up, We're Dreaming? Yeah, that's the record. That guy came out at the beginning and waved. It was really cool. I like that little character.
It's funny how those little things can make the show.
Yeah, it's like a little detail. We had a fun night, though. There was people with, like, glow sticks around us, and we were like, dancing, and I don't know, let loose, that's kind of the thing.
That's the theme.
Yeah.
Shifting gears back to Chicago Quarterly.
Sure.
It's been kind of fun to read some of those articles on there. You plan to contribute an article soon, I understand, that you're writing for interview?
Well, actually not. I'm not interviewing anyone currently for that magazine, but my friends Alex Shaw and Toby Altman have put together a pretty large literature submission that I'm going to be publishing, which I'm really excited about. They do like an experimental literature reading in Chicago, and just like in creative spaces, like shopping malls or up in trees, or and I feel like those kind of ideas are really important, because I feel like we get too into like formal modes, like a concert is when someone is on a stage with the thing and then they play through the thing, and it's like, well, you kind of need to like change the forms, because that's what art's about, and the forms get kind of redundant, and then we start to like give into this like, this is what a show is, this is what a band does, this is what an author does. So I feel like what they're doing is really important, because it's pushing around those ideas like, no, this is not what an author does. He doesn't stand at a cafe or a bar or whatever and read a poem. Authors go and read in the trees, authors go and read in the malls, authors read at the laundromat, which when I read at their event, that's where I read, at a laundromat, which was an interesting experience. So, yeah.
But then you get to smell clean laundry all day.
It is true. It is true. Well, what I did when I read at that, because, that's one of the, I haven't read a lot of poetry, official poetry readings, but when I read at that, like what was fun to play with is when the things would go on spin cycle, and they would get loud, and then I would start reading my poem really loud. That was kind of, see, that's what interesting spaces can do. They can push art into like, well, I didn't read my poem like that before. People didn't hear it at that intensity, and so I feel like those kind of ideas are really healthy, because it just challenges the form of the art,
Totally.
So,
well, we're almost out of time, so I'll make sure we get to plug everything for you.
Oh, yeah.
If anyone wants to get a hold of you to do some creative project, how would be the best method?
I would message me on Instagram at Lloyd Daylight. Give me a little note there. I read those. Yeah. So that would probably be the best way. I kind of don't want to give away my personal email address, which is like the only one I have. So yeah, that would be...
Say no to the stalkers.
Yeah. There's too much of that going around. And I actually do plan on taping the camera on my laptop soon. Even though I haven't done it. Oh, you guys have tape on that one in there. You don't want people spying on you. See,
I see it.
I heard. Edward Snowden's like, tape the cameras.
True story.
Anything he says, I do. Just kidding.
Yeah. Although we're going to wave to the 3 cameras in the room here.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Everybody, it's been a really fun experience. Thank you.
Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Anything else you want to make sure you mention before you take off? Anyone you want to give a plug to or say hi to?
My girlfriend Marissa. Hey. Hey, girl.
You should look at that camera and say it.
Hey, Marissa.
Beautiful.
Okay, cool.
Before you go, can you do a quick station ID for me? Just you're listening to KPSU.
You're listening to KPSU.
Thank you.
Cool.